We are seconds away from live integrated feed with YouTube. We are seconds away from live integrated feed with YouTube. Per usual, I'm going to say good day. Good day, Gente. And Gente just means people in Spanish. All right. All right, and we're going to really move forward because we're covering or revisiting. We are revisiting Mississippi. Mississippi. We are revisiting Mississippi today, and we are also going to cover Rhode Island. Now, I have made a presumption on the basis of the size of Rhode Island. The presumed population for Rhode Island comparatively to other states and the assignment of delegates politically, right? Okay, so let's hope that my assumption is not so far off that my intent to cover Rhode Island while revisiting Mississippi for a bit is not too ambitious, okay? All right, so before I begin there, I'm going to direct you here. And I'm giggling because we need to see the lightheartedness in it all, because science, admittedly, and I can say this because I am a doctoral level scientist. I've been around the block in science for quite some time. And you know how the person or the group or the class of people about whom the colloquialism is, you know what I mean? They are generally given a, unlimited pass, or maybe just a general pass, if you will, to speak about stereotypes that would befit them. So in truth, because science is, or entails rather, ongoing discovery, further proving of even discovered facts that may only hold true given the conditions or the parameters that were tested in that previous study, okay? And with that being said, for those who do not have a sound understanding of science, you then presume that we are indecisive or that scientists are inept because they can't finitely say or finitely declare or finitely attest, as opposed to our studies, they show or suggest a particular hypothesis or support for a theory, substantiation for an equation, things of that nature, okay? A phenomenon, in fact, all right? All right, let me turn this. But that does not mean that you should not trust science. Now, as I've said, and I will continue to say, you should trust ethical scientists. And there's a generally easy way to identify ethical scientists. They do not have a money, political, or socioeconomic driver. I know some people are going to say, well, that can be tough to ascertain as well because of the dynamic of the world today. Well, this is where you have to do your research. And this is why I encourage you to read journal articles. You needn't subscribe to all the journal articles or even one journal article of interest to at least get a working knowledge of the subject matter at issue, okay? So, but with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and cover these things and then I'll go ahead and begin with my affirmation. May I further enlarge our collective and individual understanding on the subject matter that we will cover, and may I not cause further divide. Okay, so today I posted on Facebook, let's share. Okay. Okay. All righty. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys. We've got to go to my feed. We're getting there. You get to see all kinds of goodies right now, right? Remember, transparency is not a big deal for me because I have really nothing to hide. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so here we are. And this is the post that I made earlier today. If you haven't viewed week 18, the session through which we started covering the state of Mississippi, and was very interesting, and that's why we're going to kind of touch upon it again, please do. It's a pinned post on my Facebook page. All right. Now, more directly to what I'm speaking about now, and science and the virus, COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, okay? Let me clarify once more. And for those of you who may have a hearing impairment, here we also have it in writing. And I'm sure that most of you are also, the captions can be used as well, but I wanted to just have two different mediums so that we can really digest these fundamental facts. And these fundamental facts have been proven as best as anything can be proven finitely by the scientific method, okay? All right, so there is no cure for viruses. They can't be killed. I know that you see the commercials with Lysol and they say, kill the virus and kill the flu virus and kill 99.9% of viruses. Okay, so they are not actually killed. When we think of kill, think of it like, unfortunately, and I apologize for those of you for whom this is a trigger, but this is not intended for that. But the death of a human being or the killing of a human being, that is a finite process. Now, I know there are considerations for maybe a spiritual afterlife and things of that nature, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just the finite meaning of the word to kill. And I've told you before that sometimes even scientists will use words that are not proper or not a part of our disciplinary jargon so as to better communicate what we intend to say. Okay? And equally, there are outside agencies, entities, and persons outside of the scientific community, outside of that field of expertise, who will equally use words that communicate to the masses in a general way, right? Okay. Easy additional example is the word clean, okay? So Lysol, the way it's advertised is advertised more so as a sanitizer. Sanitizing is different. Sanitizing is similar to sterilizing, okay? And when we say they can't be killed, they can't be killed finitely. When they are dormant or sterilized or inactivated, but they are not forever gone, okay? So we need to make sure we have an understanding of that. Clean is different from sanitize. Clean means to remove surface particulate matter from an object, whereas sterilization or sanitization is managing, removing, inactivating the microscopic life, bacteria, things of that nature, right? Viruses. Okay. All right, there we go. Number 2, viruses can remain dormant for a significant time period. Number 3, viruses evolve and mutate. Mutations or adaptations, which can sometimes be used as one and the same interchangeably. Mutations are not necessarily evolution. A good scientist who, and maybe I shouldn't say a good scientist, because again, sometimes in certain situations, there will be a use of words, diction, right? Word choice. There will be diction used by scientists that they know is not consistent with our disciplinary jargon, and that amongst their peers would miscommunicate or be in error altogether. But in certain crowds or to certain audiences, it is best to use these words because they communicate effectively generally, okay? So mutations are not necessarily evolution. Why? Evolution is an adaptation or a mutation over time. So, this takes some time and not just a year. Generally, evolution happens over the period of decades and things of that nature, okay? All right. Number 4, the vaccines are approved under emergency exemption only. Oh, let me go back to the mutation. So viruses evolve and mutate. Mutations are not necessarily evolution. This is important because without me having to explain it there, I hope that you understood and you picked up what I put down. We've not heard any more about the double mutant COVID virus, if you will, this COVID-2, right, SARS. Please understand, this is not to instill fear. Remember, this is not about fear tactics. This is just about you being sufficiently informed so that you can behave accordingly. And the suggested behavior is to err on the side of caution and be mindful of the recommendations by trusted scientists, okay? All right, so those mutations are still happening, okay? Because they happen or can happen faster than an evolutionary change of a microorganism or a large organism like ourselves, okay? Number 4, the vaccines are approved under emergency exemption only. Most of you know this. Be mindful of that, because enough time has elapsed if the vaccine were deemed appropriate for full approval, that it would receive full approval from the FDA. So that means that clearly there are additional matters that need to be resolved before the FDA fully approves the vaccines. And this can be something very simple, or this can be something very significant. Think of it similarly to a food sanitation evaluation. There, and receiving a grade, like for a restaurant, we'll make that comparison. Something as simple as a crack, well, no, actually, that's not very simple. Let me try another one. Something as simple as the light bulb being out in the refrigerator. And again, some of us scientists would definitely argue that it is exceedingly important. And I definitely agree, but just for the purposes of our discussion, it is generally perceived by the masses that a light out in your refrigerator is not that big of a deal, right? If a light goes out in your refrigerator, you normally, are going to be perfectly fine. Your food's going to be perfectly fine. to give you time to replace it. You're not going to be in fear of immediate danger, right? Okay, so similarly, there are criteria that need to be met for FDA full approval. So that light bulb may be deduction of points and may even, in addition to other deductions of points, dropped that food grade from A to B. That does not mean that it is a absolutely deplorably nasty establishment and you shouldn't eat there. Equally, the full approval or the lack of the full approval to date by the FDA does not mean that the vaccine is altogether dangerous. And especially not inherently dangerous, because if it were inherently dangerous, it would not have received emergency exception or emergency exemption, okay? But just keep these things in mind. And this is what I mean about the field of science. For those of you who have hurdles with objectivity and understanding multiple aspects of a matter, this can be somewhat, again, of a hurdle. I'm sharing it with you because I want you to have the absolute truth. And a lot of you want to hear it and can digest objectively. And you feel that you have been slighted by the notable scientists who are reporting on this matter because they're not just telling you the truth. They're not trusting you with the truth, right? So that's why I'm sharing it with you. But it doesn't necessarily negate everything that Dr. Fauci has said. It doesn't necessarily negate everything that a doctor is saying that you've heard. It is so that you know, for each of these matters, there's two sides or additional aspects that are relevant to your sufficient understanding of it, okay? And we got to move on because it's 4:15. All right. Number 5, holistic health is inseparably core to a strong, healthy immunity system. Excuse me. I've said this, I'll continue to say it. Let's look at this very commonsensically. The earth, and I've told you this before, the earth is a system. For scientific purposes, it is, there are many different things that it is designated as, a planet, right? All these things. But when you're thinking about an ecosystem, the earth itself is an ecosystem. It is an open system. That means that things can come in, things can come out, right? We humans are on this ecosystem. Arguably, the human body is an ecosystem, if you will. What is core to these ecosystems is our natural presence, which predates any type of modern medicine, hence the term modern. So before there was ever a formally, chemically modified product of nature, before there was discovery of atoms, discovery of different, chemical compounds, discovery and creation, composition of the scientific table of elements, before all those things were in place, there was the natural ecosystem. And it is understood by most scientists that, generally speaking, nature is the best doctor because it all predates us. And there generally is a remedy in nature for every ailment in nature. And therein is the natural balance. Okay. All right. So that's why your natural health is inseparably core to your naturally strong and healthy immunity system. Okay. I know some of you practice Christianity. So think of it this way. Jesus didn't have Tylenol. Okay. And I know that maybe that's the wrong simile, because again, you would ascribe to him, healing power. So let's just say that, no, I can't say that either. Oh goodness, because it's so hard, because some of these things because of how I think objectively, they can work. I was going to say Egyptians didn't have Tylenol, but they used natural elements, usually unaltered, maybe at best altered as far as its state, maybe from liquid to solid, or rather solid to liquid, or solid to a powder form, with the pestle and mortar, things of that nature. But the point I'm getting at is that nature predates medicine. Okay. Number 6, water is life. Drink it regularly and be glad that it tastes like nothing. So many of you are so upset because water tastes like nothing. And I tell people all the time, well, I am so glad it tastes like nothing. It could taste like shit and still be like absolutely necessary for us to live and thrive. So thank goodness it tastes like nothing. And number 7, asymptomatic viral infection is real and even usual. It's common. So asymptomatic, you've heard these terms. It means that a person has been infected by the virus, but shows no symptoms, no, typical symptoms across the board, in whatever group that is being observed, right? Okay. Equally, Trump's ambition for re-election is unreal and even more so unusual. Okay, I thought that would be some good humor for you. So let's go ahead and get on over here to Mississippi. This thing, it gets, oh, wait, I don't want to stop. My bad, hold on. I'm trying to just move it. There we go. Just move it here. Okay. All right, so state of Mississippi. Yeah. MISSI, SSI, PPI. Here we go. That's legislature. There, that should do. Okay. Legislators, right? Representatives, senators, the House of Representatives for that, right? We were going to look up a few people really quickly. Hester. Remember that one? Taisha. Where is she at? Taisha may be one of the senators. Pull it up here. Zakeether. So let's start with him. He's my age, born in 1976. Okay. A month apart, just about. Looks like he is a former Marine, retired. He's on the Committee for Constitution, Investigating State Offices, like an ombudsman, a term I use all the time. Military affairs. I'm just slurring my words today, which is hilarious. I am admittedly not really tired. I'm just like in a super, super relaxed rejuvenation mode. And actually, it's half of the reason why I was like, you know what, I'm going to go early, or I'm going to go late. I even considered not having today's session, just to be completely transparent. And then I said, no, let me go ahead and do that. I've got my delicious food waiting on me, so that's probably playing a role as well. And I decided to just go ahead and do the session before I begin eating, so I don't have to rush and I can take my time and enjoy the rest of my evening. So I apologize if my pronunciation is kind of off the wall today. But nonetheless, he's on the Committee for Military Affairs, Municipalities, and Public Utilities. So very interesting. It doesn't really give us a separate website for them. Let's see. But it's good to see the representation. Zakaya was one of the ones we're going to kind of circle back to. Former Director of Communications and Advocacy. That's awesome. Generally, for people in roles like that. Owner and operator, so she's an entrepreneur. That's awesome because she understands that, and that's very necessary for small business owners to have representation in our government, state, local, and federal. She serves on the Apportionment and Elections Committee, County Affairs, Education, Public Health and Human Services, and even Workforce Development. Excuse me. Let's see. She's from Houston, Texas. It doesn't say when she relocated to Mississippi, but she served as is a member, we can presume, as it says, is affiliated with. I don't know why it would just say is affiliated instead of she is a member. Maybe it's just a word choice. Maybe the person drafting this didn't have a complete understanding of how it normally is stated for those who are members of a sorority, but nonetheless, so I'm not sure if she is a member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. We're going to assume that she is, and that's what they intend to communicate with affiliated. The MS Sickle Cell Foundation Vice Chair, that's awesome. She is a Neighborhood Association Secretary, NAACP, ACLU, Women for Progress, Federation of Democratic Women, STAN, UMMC, Community Advisory Board. Not sure what that is. I'll look it up really quickly. That is. Oh, University of Mississippi. That makes perfect sense. Part of the Jackson Association of Black Journalists. Remember, she was in communication and advocacy. Her bachelor's is in journalism. And W.K. Kellogg Foundation Community Leadership Network Fellow. Again, we don't know her age, but we can assume that she is maybe a part of my generation. Again, I'm 44. Let's see. So she might be anywhere from maybe 25. You can never really tell. 25 to maybe my age, 44. I definitely wouldn't give her older than me, but she still may be. All right, so then let's tackle a few more, and then we'll head on over to Rhode Island. Okay, Hester, go back to Hester. It's not giving me, there we go. All right, we said we were gonna look her up because again, they don't give a separate website for them. Let's give her a whirl. Hester McCrae, I believe it says Jackson. Let me make sure and go back. Hester Jackson McCrae. Yeah. Okay. Of course, there's always Ballotpedia. I appear on it as well. And it's what you assume it is. It's Wikipedia for those who are on the ballot for elections, right? Your appearance on Ballotpedia does not necessarily mean that you will appear in Wikipedia. That's the case for me. I believe you begin to appear in Wikipedia if you're actually elected, okay? All right, so she's elected, so she appears on both, so we can find out. Ballotpedia is generally more accurate than Wikipedia. Yes, the general public can contribute to Ballotpedia as well, but generally it's the individuals who do so have more firsthand accurate knowledge about the politicians and normally only use verified citations. That is not always the case with Wikipedia. Okay, so let's see. She's been in office since January 7, 2020. Her term ends in 2004. Let's see. She serves on public utilities. These things we know. You see what I mean? So they've given us so they've given us the same information that, oh, okay, good. I don't know if she was completely undefeated or if it was a, choice, like the Democratic convention decided, okay, this is who we're rooting for, and everybody just went with that. It can communicate two different things. And the other thing being that she was just straightly, unopposed. Let's see. Thought maybe we could find something else. I don't particularly want to try to kick up dirt against anyone. That is not my plan. And we're definitely not going to read too many articles because some of the articles can be libelous, which you all are aware of, as I have experienced. So I want to be very objective and give each person the benefit of the doubt. But it is important that we really look for the diversity, the diverse representation in each state, so that when we pursue this more perfect union, that there will be a greater likelihood of solidarity on our efforts. Okay. All right. So it wasn't much we needed to cover. I just thought, it would be nice to go back and look at, take a deeper dive for some of the individuals. Let's go over to the senators and then we'll head on over to Rhode Island. Okay, is that? Oh, yes. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I was going to look him up as well. Shaik Taylor. He's affiliated with Habitat for Humanity, the County Board of Supervisors Advisory Council, the Arts Council, County Food Policy Council, and he is a member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity and NAACP. Looks like he is originally from Mississippi, and he is 3 years older than me. Let's see. He is on the committees for, as you can see, County Affairs, Vice Chair, that's a good thing, considering, he graduated from Howard University. We can, based on the things that we see, we can generally, again, based on our definition from this field of science or the field of study, research, statistics, economics, okay, where you have your assumptions. These assumptions are just agreed upon, accepted facts, right? When we start our study. Okay, so based on the information we have, he appears to be on the right side of justice. He is on the Congressional Redistricting Committee, Education, Legislative Reapportionment, and Universities and Colleges. Okay, let me just see. His name is very unique. Maybe we can pull up something that we didn't know and believing that it will be positive. Let's see. He does have a Facebook. I think I'm going to follow. Well, I need to follow with my page. Like is my page. Okay. There we go. All right, let's see. Well, he was reelected, as we see. Okay. Let me see. Let's see the comments. Sometimes you learn valuable information and sometimes you don't. This is a really good number. for individuals being liked as far as elected officials, because generally people just follow a representative and don't actually hit the button like. Likes are usually dedicated for those representatives who have actually done something specific for a particular voter, or something that they've actually seen. Other than that, typically you see much lower followers, likes for politicians who have been, even if they've been elected, and even if they're on the state level, especially if they're on the state level and not necessarily on the federal level, which gets a lot more attention, right? Okay. But this is a really good number comparatively. Okay. So it tends to communicate that as well. And he cares about rental assistance. That's good. Yeah, a lot of people just generally don't follow the politicians as much as they should. And hence, this is partly why I have started this platform. All right, so this is more of the election coverage or publicity. This looks like a very promising post. The Mississippi Department of Corrections is failing our state, our families, and humanity for the inhumane treatment of inmates. Let us all not forget that these are our fathers, brothers, and sons living in these conditions. I will push for answers and demand changes. Our people deserve better. Thank you, Congressman Benny G. Thompson, for your efforts on the federal level. I ask all of you in District 38 to help me in this matter to bring justice and fairness to our loved ones incarcerated in Mississippi. Yeah, I think he's on the right side of justice, I believe. I'm hoping, you know. So I'm going to definitely continue to follow him. I'm going to follow the others as well. And I'm going to encourage you to take a moment when you visit my page, my Facebook page, after viewing any of my Evolve Weekly sessions, and look at who I'm following and consider following them as well and doing your own research. And we should share it with one another. That's the type of village of active voters I intend to inspire. We should not just be passive voters. We should not just be allowing politics and legislative enactment to happen at us, and without any consideration explicitly for us. Okay. All right. We are the people. You and I. We deserve to know what's going on. We deserve to be able to have sufficient information to vote intelligently and not just vote for, amongst the lesser evils. No, that's not how it should be. Okay. Okay, so let's go on over. So you'll see where I'm going to definitely follow several others. Let me go back, let me go here. I wanted to look at Taisha. I'm believing that maybe she's a senator, so let's go back. But I thought that she was a representative. Let me go through it. I don't think it was from a different state. I'm pretty sure. All right, let's go back to the representatives one more time. Okay, let's go down. There we go. La Taisha. That's because I'm looking, my eyes are looking for T, and it's either La Taisha or Latisha, or even possibly just a unique spelling for Latasha. I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, see here it says member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. So I don't know if they are writing their own, bios. I'm not sure, but it would seem I would tend to think that they wouldn't, because every person that I know who has crossed line has always said, I'm a distinguished member of, or I'm a member of, or I'm an AKA, or I'm an Omega, I'm a Q, so it's more member than I am affiliated with. So I'm not really sure what that means as far as their affiliation. If any of you know, please, send me a message, put it in the comments so we all can see it. You know what I mean? All right. So she was born in 1983. So she is 7 years younger than me, in her 30s. Let's see. She has a degree in English language. Of course, I'm going to mess that one up, right? Because I'm talking about language and English. She has a BA in English language arts education. She is the executive director of Advocate, or, I'm pretty sure it's a play on words. Let's see what that is really quickly, and then we'll move on. EDVCATE. And maybe let me put the acronymous denotation, and then maybe we will get exactly to where we need to be. Okay. Okay, that's just pulling up her. Let's see if we see anything else. If we don't see anything else, I'm presuming that it is her establishment. But it seems like there should be something. Okay, let me go back and let me see here. Let's do this. And let's see if it appears on Facebook anywhere. Let's go all the way down. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking that it has to be maybe a nonprofit that she maybe just started or is a part of, that is in its, birthing stage, if you will. Not really sure what that is. And I'm saying this from my experience and expertise as a business legitimacy consultant. Generally, when someone mentions the name of a company and it has a very unique name and not a commonly commercial driven name, it is typically their own business, their own nonprofit. But usually by the name, I can do a simple Google search before even going to their respective state's Secretary of State website to verify their articles of incorporation. Those things are very important to me. It doesn't mean that this young lady is any less than apt. That's just information that we continue to, find out as we do exactly what we're doing in this format. But it is a great opportunity to share with you and remind you that business legitimacy is the most viable methodology to achieve business legacy, prosperity, and all of those things. Too many people are intimidated by the formalities required for incorporation or registration or formation. These are all terms that are used, legal jargon, not so much as legalese, but legal jargon that is used for the process of becoming a legitimate and compliant, not complacent, not complicit, but compliant with the basal laws that govern whatever field, that you intend to enter and whatever business entity type you intend to establish. So those things are very important. So always keep those things in mind. You can check me out on my for-profit side at Pursuit with an E of Happiness, with a Y, Corporation. Again, the name of my corporation signifies or can signify that it is probably owned by a small business owner, and on and on and on. Okay, so she is on the Investigate State Offices. She's a vice chair together with the other gentleman. I think it was Keither. Appropriations Committee, Judiciary B, Judiciary en banc, local and private legislation, public property, university, and colleges. I like the fact that they have these, these particular individuals who are, African American, young. They clearly have a connection to Black America that is a typical indicator of their solidarity with Black diasporans. You know what I mean? They're usually on the right side of justice. Again, these are just our accepted assumptions as we learn more about individuals. Again, this is the format to share it with one another so that we know that we are voting for the right people and keep them in office so that we can, get to the point we all want, which is a more perfect union. Okay. All right. So let's go on over to Rhode Island. I'm going to follow her on Facebook, of course, presuming she's there. So I didn't find her organization, and maybe she decided to just, put it on hold during the pandemic. I don't know. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, see, I talked about it. I talked about it. Yeah, see, we won't have time to go over them all because we're going to quickly go through Rhode Island. And this is not to diminish the importance of Rhode Island. Is this her? Yeah, so this is her. So she doesn't have, so it was intended to be a U and not a V. I thought that maybe that it was intentional, like with the E and Y in the name of my corporation. So, and I was correct. She is the president and CEO of Educate. Let's see what it means. I'm glad I decided to go there. Okay. Let's go to About. See if we get something. Okay. Provides quality youth and educational services that range from tutoring, mentoring, recreational, cultural, and college readiness to school-age students. The website, I'll make sure to post that in hopes that it is deemed an ethical and very purposeful driven and an impactful driven organization. So we're going to do this with the best intentions in place. Okay, and then we're going to go on over to, see, she is a member. Normally people say they're a member of. She attended an HBCU. She's supporting the HBCU. Let me go back over. Let's see. Alabama State. For those of you who do not know. It is one of the oldest HBCUs. So I'm going to put both of these. Hold on. Let me go here. So I'm going to follow. No, it didn't allow me to follow. So she's got her personal account pretty private, much like I do. Because if it weren't private, then it would at least allow you to follow. So I'm going to respect that. You know what I mean? Because I do the same thing. And I appreciate those of you who respect my, my very little area of personal space. We all, those of us who lend ourselves as servants to the public, we do still deserve our private space. So I'm going to respect that, but I'm going to hype her up. And let me go to my page. Yeah, I don't see her. Okay, well, there's an education report. Maybe this I can do. Yeah, so she represents, these schools. I'm going to just go ahead and follow from here. And then I'll add this. Okay, let's get on over to Rhode Island. See, there's so much to find out. And please do, the other gentlemen that I mentioned, the other representatives I mentioned in my previous posts, last week for week 18. Please do go and do your research. Understand that your research is not necessarily to find dirt. That's not the goal. That's not our goal. It is so that you know what they are doing and that we can support them in solidarity across the nation. Because too often, I keep on saying this, that our politicians who really are the good guys, they're not getting enough of our support. And they need it within the state, locally, if they're at the county or city level, if they're at the state level, yes. And if they're at the federal level, we too often support our federal representation and we leave all of our other politicians hanging. They need us. They need us across the state, within the state. And it's just, it can't be that they're out there and siloed. Okay. And for those of you, some of you know. Okay. So just the managers have been told to break down the walls between siloed applications. So of a system isolated from others. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go. We're going to post this and that. I followed there. Let me go here. Let me post here. Let me go there. Wait, let's go back. Go to my pages. Here. And boom, boom, and boom, boom. I really enjoy doing this. And I know that it may seem corny to some of you. I know that. I'm fully aware of that. But it's not it's not corny to me. It's extremely important. Okay, sometimes it's, as I'm scrolling through, it can be difficult to find the area where I can just create my post. Thank you. Oh my gosh. All right, so let me put a note. Let's support politicians who are generally for our own right side of justice, not just our own local city, county, and state representatives, rather throughout the nation. This, let's capitalize this. This is the way we shall viably implement and realize a more perfect union. Okay. All right, so let's keep on going because we got a little bit of time here left. I'll post more, you know I will. Okay. All right. Let that post, make sure that's there. Yay, yay, yay. There it is. Okay. All right. And I don't think, well, yeah, it won't post her. Hold on. Wait. No. Let me do this really quick too. I'm trying to be thorough, friends. We're trying to be thorough. Here we go. Let's go here. Let's also just copy this. Just, for right now. All right, so let's go there. And then let's go back over here really quickly. And let's edit. And let's keep both of them up here. Only one will post, but you'll have both links, and that's what's important. All right, let's head on over to the state of Rhode Island. Okay, state of Rhode Island, and there you have it. So it tells you up front And hold on, let's make sure. It tells you up front. And so that does clarify my presumptions that it is primarily what? Democrat. The state of Rhode Island General Assembly is the state legislature of the United States of Rhode Island, a bicameral body. It is composed of the Lower Rhode Island House of Representatives with 75 representatives and the Upper Rhode Island Senate with 38 senators. So this is good because we know up front how many, much like the composition for California was just conspicuously available to us as soon as we got to the website. Now, of course, this is what Wikipedia is reporting. And of course, we can infer therefrom that, of course, they got a citation, or excuse me, not got a citation. They used an accurate citation to get this information and then reported therefrom. So let's go to the General Assembly. And that's why I said and made the presumption that Rhode Island would be considerably straightforward. Let me go here as well so that you see which states we've covered thus far. I am in the process of correcting some of the, let me move this because this is on my personal, well, it's my for-profit, but my personal for-profit channel versus, so this is Tigress is a verb for modeling and acting and things of those natures, things of that nature. Some of you are aware that I'm also trained in the performing arts. I studied at University of Louisville and North Carolina A&T State University. It was such an honor to serve. Train rather. It was such an honor to train with the Black repertoire or repertory in Louisville. Okay, let's go here. Yes! Okay, we're going to change this quickly. I'm just showing you everything today. You're getting. Yes! Okay, I'm getting music. You just, it's just everything. All right, so we're going to go to playlist. Evolve Weekend. And stop that there. Oops. Will it allow me to see the whole thing at once? Let's go here. All right, so you see where we're live right now. Okay. So Virginia, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, New York. Wait, hold on. No. Oh, I'm sorry. New York was discussed early on, then we went back to Pennsylvania. And as I was alluding to before I stopped kind of abruptly on my thought, let me complete that thought. I have begun changing the thumbnails so that they are conspicuously displaying which state we're covering. And they begin as such with that conspicuous designation, right? Week 16, state of Hawaii, state of Washington, state of Mississippi last week. Okay, so let's go on up, back over here. Let's go back here. Okay, representatives. All right, so we have all men, majority leader, minority leader, speaker of House. Okay, where's the list of them? Okay, so the representatives here, Abney, Ackerman, Agello, Alzate, Amor, Azenaro, Baginski, Barros, and Batista. Okay, many of these names appear to be Italian. Okay, so that's interesting. If you all have any information on maybe the migration of Italian immigrants, maybe to this area, let me know. All right, and then senators, Senator Acosta, Algier, Anderson, Archambault, Bell, and Burke. Again, men serving as leaders, President of the Senate, Senate Majority Leader, Senate Minority Leader. Okay. And there's the upper and a lower. That's interesting. So I believe that what we'll do is we'll touch upon Rhode Island, because that's a dynamic that we were not expecting. So that's a curveball. We'll cover that in the first part of next week's session, because I was not aware of that. Now, maybe it seems similarly tiered, maybe not as complex as New York, but there is that tiering that is definitely similar to the New York legislature. Okay. Interesting. Let's go back home. Committee. That's interesting. Senate leaders and committee members. Let's go here. Okay. So why are they only listing? Yeah, this would be very difficult. I was not having this expectation at all. Okay, so the Senate, and then you have Senate committees. I understand that we can print it out, and I guess I will print it out just for the sake of ease for next week's session. But I see a lot of opportunities for revisions, so that this is more user-friendly and really brings in people, inspires people to want to know more, and not just, driven by the purpose of this study, if you will. You know what I mean? Like if you were a Rhode Islander, I would just be completely turned off by all of this. But as someone who is actually, committed to this type of research, and the efforts thereupon for implementation of a more perfect union, I'm going to definitely print it out. Even the text is still just crazy small. I understand getting it all on one page for, convenience. I get that. And then it can always be copy pasted over, for each individual's needs, but still it's just, interesting, very interesting. Let's go back. All right, House of Representative leaders and committee members. All right, they have them on 3 sheets. So why are they only listing a few of them on the first page? Let me look at this. So what's going on is it looks as though in the Senate, they list the Senate President, Majority Leader, President Pro Tem, Deputy President Pro Tem, Majority Whip, Deputy Majority Whip, Democratic Policy Caucus Chair, Minority Leader, and Minority Whip for the Senate. That's what's listed and we first saw on the first page. Let's go back to that so you see what I'm saying. When we go here and you see this, that's who these individuals are. Yeah, right. That's who these individuals are. And then when we go to the senators, whoa, okay. Okay, so Rogerio that's consistent on here. McCaffrey is consistent. Algier is not listed here. Okay, so I'll eat some crow. Small state, complex legislature, huh? Yeah, it's 5:02. And there's a lot to try to figure out here, and I'm not sure I get it. Right now, I'm looking at a roster, if you will, of course, promulgated by them, as I've already shown you. Here, we'll go back to it. So remember these names. Look, and so you can scroll down too, you know, reading and moving about intuitively is fundamental. But still, this sheet includes so many. And so my first presumption, it seems sound, was that all of those in leadership were listed here. Okay, let's see. Now it's scrolling again for us. Let's get down here and click in there. Okay, so Ruggiero's there. Yeah, these are a lot of Italian names. Lombardi. I don't think I was familiar with that, or maybe I was and didn't realize it. And see, these are just committees. So admittedly, some of their names appear more than once. Let's go back to that. And then clearly we're going to have to take a deeper dive. It just doesn't look like there's a way to get a handle on this at all. Right there. So this is the breakdown for representatives, Senate leaders, and senators on the respective committees and also their leadership. But it doesn't coincide exactly as we would presume for this here. So let's click on this and let's just see. Yeah, so you scroll down and there are 75 of them. And just scrolling through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So yeah, okay. When you first scroll through, of course, it goes by super fast. So you think you see maybe 12, but it looks like 38 over here. And we learned that from here, 38 senators, 75 House of Representatives. Okay. Red, we know, is the color for what? The Republicans. Blue for Democrats. And so when we see that designation, let's go over here. I just want to show you that it is consistent with Wikipedia's article on this, and that it didn't represent like another symbolized designation or grouping, if you will. So interesting. All right. Hey, it's okay. It's okay to eat crow when we are learning. That's the best crow to have, is when we can learn therefrom and not be fearful. Fearful is the word, because it does stem from a type of fear in learning more. And learning a thing, or learning that you don't know a certain thing, so, or don't understand a certain thing, or there's more to it than what would just normally be straightforward. So we'll revisit Rhode Island next week. All right. Wow. Never ceases to amaze, right? All right, so I am Tigress Sydney Acute McDaniel, and I have been and remain your gracious and committed host of Evolve Weekly. Today was week 19 of a 52-week series on how to implement a more perfect union. Join me again next week for week 20 as we revisit Rhode Island and another state that I will be soon to post. All right, don't forget to check out my Facebook post of the representatives that we have covered in this session. Have a wonderful week. Bye.